Welcome everyone. This is the first video in our video series where we'll be going over how to create a Django website. So this is a full tutorial end to end how you can create a Django website for yourself. We will be going through what is a fairly similar Django tutorial that you can find in the Django documentation. However, there will be some differences in the things that we'll be going over, specifically how to use outside databases, a few different models and widgets, and also their website. The Django tutorial that you'll put together here is a polls app, so something not that useful for most people. While this tutorial will be going over will be to put together a portfolio website. So once you're done with this, you'll have something to showcase yourself and your work. So it's something a bit more useful to have. But it is fairly similar to this, and everything that we'll be going over can definitely be found within the Django documentation. So if you ever have any questions or any concerns with Django, definitely this is the place where you'd want to come check it out first. You can follow along with our GitHub repository so that you can see what we work on. We'll also be making the YouTube video series available as well, so you could follow along there. But if you want to have all the files available and everything, you can come to our GitHub and pick everything up there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to need to create our project is go onto the folder where we'd like to get started. So we have this folder already open within our VS Code, and this is where we'd like to get our project going. So we're going to go ahead and start doing that. Now, let's see. Django admin start project, and then we'll pick our project name to be a portfolio, because that's what we're making, a portfolio website. And you see it creates these folders for us with the files as mentioned here. So you have the managed Pi website and the portfolio website with all the files within. I can't open the settings Pi. I don't want you to see the key and whatnot, but it has a little bit of information here on what each one does. The settings Pi has all your configurations and all this different information about your project, such as where your database is, what database you're using, different settings, whether you're in debug or whether you're already in operational mode, all these different things that will be managed out of your settings Pi. The URLs folder, it's kind of just like a pipeline. It tells you your URLs where to guide you, so essentially which views to show you. And we'll get a little bit more into this later. These other two files are just some deployment files, so we won't really be getting too much into those. See, as of right now, we have our project created. So this is just the first part. So we could go ahead now and create an app within our project. So to do that, we are going to want to move into our projects folder, and you're going to want to go ahead and create the app by running the following code. Since I am in Linux and I do have the Python 2 and 3, I do have to put the Python 3 ahead of it. If you are in Windows or something and you just have Python, you might not need the 3 there. But either way, it's just to call Python itself. And now we're going to pick this app, should be the main app. So as you see, once again, it creates the folder for us, and it creates all the files within it that we're going to need to be able to have our website. So you see it has views, tests, models. One thing that it doesn't have that we will need to add is a URLs file. So let's go ahead and do that now. But since we have this URLs file within our apps, we will need to tell our URLs file within our main project how to essentially talk to that file, how to bring in the applications from there. So we're going to go ahead and copy this here, which is what we're going to need to bring that in. So once we're here, we have path and include, and now we have the main, so we have the admin so that you can look at all of the admin stuff, and you're going to want to add essentially your own website based on the app names that you have created. So now this should allow for your URLs file within your project to understand and see the URLs file that is going to be within your app. So now if you go within your app, you should be able to put in your URL information here and begin to have that shown over on the other side through that instructions. So let's go ahead and copy the code we need for there, and okay, save. And we also need to add the view, because that is what's going to actually render something into that URL path. So you see it already has the shortcut render brought in, so we need to bring in the HTTP response so that we can show this in the text. So we are going to now save that, and we should be able to now go into our website and essentially see our app. So it will tell you that until you're able to migrate everything. We will be going over those steps later, so that once we're going into all the database stuff and we have all of that set up, we'll be going into that. You see, as of now, you can see here we have those two things that we set up in our project's URL. We have the admin and the main. We'll be going into what the admin does a little bit later on, but for now, let's just see the work we did. So let's go ahead and go into the main view, and as you see, we are now able to see if you want to change the name of whatever your app is now. So we called ours name, so you are at the main index. The pulse comes from the Django tutorial, that's why it says that. So as you see, once we change it there, it changes here, and we can start from here on how to make our changes and work to Django. So this is just the first steps on how to get started. This was just a little introduction in the first video on how to get your project and then your apps within those projects going. As you see, there is quite a bit still to do as far as migrations and all of that. We'll be going over all these things in the next video, where we'll be going into how to set up the databases and everything else that you're going to need to get all of this going. So make sure to stick around, subscribe, and that video should be coming along very soon, so make sure to check that out. Thanks, everyone.